Attention, cryptid enthusiasts and Bigfoot believers. Unleash your inner legend with our brand new Bigfoot t-shirt, now available just $19.95 plus shipping. This tee is everything you've ever wanted. Soft, lightweight, and designed with the perfect amount of stretch for maximum comfort. Made from 100% combed and ring-spun cotton, it's pre-shrunk to keep its flattering fit and durable enough to withstand your wildest adventures. With its high-quality construction and iconic design, this shirt is a must-have for anyone who's ready to join the hunt in style. Sizes are available for everyone, so don't wait to grab yours today. Head to the link in the show notes to snag your new favorite shirt and rep your Bigfoot pride wherever you go. The straws do that. My straws are just weird.
I feel like your straws are very buoyant. Is that the word? Like
buoyant?
Or maybe I just do weird things with mine.
No, mine does the same. Oh,
okay. Oh,
no, it's fine.
We've got a sinker.
Okay. Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Courtney.
Join us as we delve into true crime, paranormal encounters, and all things spooky.
Grab your flashlight and get ready to wander into the darkness with us.
This is Wicked Wanderings.
I have an interesting thing I want to talk about.
Oh, yes. What?
So everybody who knows me, probably even the Wanderers at this point, knows that I've got some severe ADHD going on. And it's relatively new to me, and my ADHD tends to be more driving along, doing my thing, and all of a sudden I'm just like thinking about a topic. So the other day I'm driving along, and I don't remember where I was. It's not really pertinent. I feel like initially when I was trying to like put this whole episode together, I was thinking about how you're gonna be like, and how did this come about? So I'm just driving along, and I must have saw something outside that reminded me of fall, which is not hard to do because I love fall.
Fall.
So I was thinking about fall, and then I was thinking about Old Sturbridge Village. You gotta stay with me here on this train. And what's the best part about Old Sturbridge Village?
God, okay. I feel like that's a multiple answer question.
Okay, well, give me the top 3 best things about Old Sturbridge Village.
Okay, the atmosphere.
Okay.
The buildings.
Think specifically. Think less broad. Think like, what are 3 things that if you could go to Old Sturbridge Village right now, what are 3 things there you would want to look at?
The nature.
The covered bridge.
Yeah, I said the buildings.
The covered bridge.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about fall while I'm driving. Yes, Hannah.
I'm raising my hand. I remember as a little girl, everyone wants to hear the story. In 4th grade, my class did a field trip there. And when we did, the person that was like leading our field trip obviously was in the clothing of the time. And she had us like count down to the time. So it was like 2000. 1990, 1980.
That's a very interesting way to do it.
And so by the time we got to the other side of the bridge where like the actual village was,
right,
we were back in that time, and it was really, I'll never forget that.
That's a really cool experience.
Yes.
I feel like everybody has a memory if you're from the area of Old Sturbridge Village. I used to work there for a very long time. I'll give them the free advertising.
I had my wedding there. Anyways.
Great place to work. I used to work in weddings at Old Sturbridge Village also. So great place to get married.
She did not work mine, which was weird. Well, okay.
They actually don't do weddings there anymore. Fun fact.
What?
Yeah, sorry to drop that one on you. Yeah, somebody had asked me a couple months ago, like, oh, hey, you used to work there. Do you have anybody still works there? And so I had asked somebody, and they were like, yeah, they won't do weddings anymore. So it's sad.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay, that's really sad. Sorry, guys. Okay,
I'm so sorry to drop that on Hannah. Anyways, back to my covered bridge. So one of my favorite things that I ever saw at Old Sturbridge Village was they used to do, and they probably would bring it back. It was a really big event. It would sell out every single time. The Sleepy Hollow experience.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I have not.
I saw it
wish I did.
once every year, and it was amazing. So it was Old Sturbridge Village is set up like a village. And the best part about it was a theatrical performance where you could walk through the village and the scene would change and the actors would follow you, but you were in a 3-dimensional village walking through. And so one of my favorite scenes is the Headless Horseman coming over the covered bridge scene. So you have to figure, in my ADHD brain, everyone, I'm so sorry that you're getting like a glimpse of what my brain looks like. When I think covered bridges, I always think about Old Sturbridge Village, and it got me thinking about places where there's other covered bridges.
Oh.
I only know of one other covered bridge that's like one I could safely navigate my way to, and it is near one of my favorite abandoned places, but that's not the bridge that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, no.
I'm bringing you Emily's Bridge.
I don't know about Emily's Bridge.
You don't know about Emily's Bridge. Okay.
Is it in Massachusetts?
It is not in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
So Emily's Bridge is located in Stowe, Vermont. So it's somewhat local.
Ooh, Stowe is well known,
And
though.
Stowe is beautiful.
For hiking, right?
Yeah, and very historic, which is what I learned.
Hiking, I meant...
She's doing the motion for eating, but she's saying
No,
hiking.
No, I'm doing skiing.
That's eating. Anyways, so Emily's Bridge is located in Stowe, Vermont. It's a historic covered bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It was also known as the Gold Brook Bridge, which is its formal name.
Cool.
So now you're probably wondering, why are we talking about this?
And who the fuck is Emily?
Right, exactly. I need to kind of tell you what the bridge is first.
Cool.
It's a 50-foot long, one-lane bridge that was built in 1844 over the Gold Brook, hence Gold Brook Bridge. And it is arguably one of the oldest remaining covered bridges in the United States.
Oh my God, love.
So when you're thinking an old covered bridge, what do you think we're going to talk about Emily's Bridge?
Haunted.
Obviously. Let me just kind of set this visual stage for the wanderers.
Which I love that you're doing, because I feel like people that aren't from, you know, high New England like this, like they're like, what the fuck is a covered bridge? But like, if you guys need to come to New England to these covered bridges.
They're gorgeous.
Beautiful.
I'm actually going to see if I can come up with a picture of it to see if we can like put it on social media so people can see.
Because there's actually one in Wilbraham, Massachusetts that like obviously is not as old, but they still have one onto a street and it's gorgeous.
There's also one in Hardwick, Massachusetts, which is also beautiful. And it's on a street in Hardwick where nobody ever drives. So you can pretty much always get a perfect picture of it. Yeah. My only quarrel is, as a photographer, the street signs that they put near them that you have to Photoshop them out, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, so you have to picture this, like, set the scene. It's a fall weekend. You're in Stowe with your honey. You're driving along and you see this dark wood bridge covered. One lane. It's perfectly spooky.
Talk
the
dirty
ambiance is
to me.
perfect. It's perfectly picturesque over a small brook. It's just beautiful. But what you wouldn't expect is that a popular local legend, as dark as the one that I'm about to tell you, happens
love
there.
good haunting.
According to popular legends, sometime between 1849 and the beginning of the 1900s. It's very vague. It's a legend. I know anybody who listened to the Wendigo episode probably hates me doing this kind of episode.
Wait, why?
Because I feel like I have a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And I'm not afraid to pose those questions. Though. That's according to the Vermont History website. I did try to cite where when it comes to legends, just like I did for the Wendigo episode. A young woman was said to have met her lover at the covered bridge to run away and elope. So it's believed that Emily had this lover who was someone that her parents did not approve of. She loved him and she wanted to run away with him and she wanted to elope. According to the legend, she waited at the bridge at midnight, which was the time they had decided to meet.
Why is it always fucking midnight?
I don't understand that either. I'm assuming, it's legend, so I'm wondering if there's something to do with the number 12. Or like the start of a new day, the end of a day. Maybe. It seems very symbolic to me. But she shows up there and she is ready to meet her lover. She's ready to run away. It's midnight and she's standing there and he's not showing up. Those damn men. Jilted by this, hurt. She took her own life at the bridge and she haunts the bridge waiting for her lover ever since.
Oh, hell no.
Is the short version. She is alleged to wait for him, growing angrier and more heartbroken as the days go on, and he doesn't arrive to meet her. Some stories have a variation where she hung herself from the rafters in her distraught state when he didn't arrive and run away with her to begin their life together. Some talk about some very different things that go along the lines of anywhere from she was going to a wedding and was thrown off her horse. She ended up in the river. There's a lot of different variations of how Emily got said to have passed. But the general consensus is that she is still there haunting the bridge, waiting for her lover. And it really struck me. I listened to a few podcasts about it. I read a lot of different websites about it, blog posts, etc. And it just seems to me that a lot of people wanted to talk about the fact that the legend is so simple and it's so different. A lot of websites really got into debunking it couldn't have possibly been true. But what I kind of fall back on, and this is another reason why I thought of this, is that there were a lot of experiences people had there. There were a lot of paranormal experiences, and that's fresh on my mind because Miss Hannah had a birthday in May. For those of you who didn't know that, we have a little moment for happy birthday to Miss Hannah.
Hey, Taurus.
And Hannah's much awaited gift from me was what?
It was a ghost box.
And tell the people what a ghost box is if they're not familiar with what a ghost box is.
So ghost box is basically, it looks like a radio, and like an old school radio that what is believed to happen scientifically is that depending on the frequency you are, you can go through AM, FM, and you can go through like different speeds, but that somehow the different ghosts on the other side are able to interact with the messages coming through on the AM FM radio and are able to speak to you through that. So like you ask them questions and they're able to pick up on the words and the frequencies to be able to talk to you.
So I had that in my head as well. So everything about the S-Box. So I wanted to really look at something that was paranormal and also a covered bridge, which seems very unique interest now. Travelers evidently, and I didn't know about this bridge until I started diving into it. Evidently, travelers who are seeking paranormal activity, who are doing some kind of ghost hunting from all over the world visit this bridge, and they reported things like apparitions, voices, lights, and other haunted happenings. And it actually has been coined Vermont's most famous ghost story, which I thought was interesting because we also don't talk a ton about Vermont.
Yeah.
It's one of those places that, and I don't know why, because it really is a place filled with history, but there's a lot of different things that are said to have happened here, and I want to walk you through them to see what you think could be debunked as something for a Vermont outdoors bridge or haunted happenings.
I have one question though before you do that.
Yeah.
So I think about the Appalachian Trail, which is supposed to be like one of the oldest parts of the world.
And very, very spooky.
Yes. So that goes from Georgia to Maine. Does it go through? That goes through New Hampshire, not Vermont, right?
Double check that.
All right.
I wish Rob from the future was here because I do think that there's a lot of weird things about darkness there.
Does the Appalachian Trail go through Vermont?
Yes, the Appalachian Trail goes through Vermont. The trail covers 150 miles in Vermont.
So I think that's interesting to say that they're saying that because the Appalachian... Sorry, I'm talking away from the mic.
No,
the Appalachian Trail is a very haunted place, but please continue. I just was curious if it went through there. Rob from the future, can you please give us information? Thank you.
Hi, Rob here. The Appalachian Trail does go through Vermont. And in fact, the Long Trail goes through Vermont, and the Appalachian Trail was designed based on the Long Trail.
Rob from the future. We do love when he taps himself in to include things.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
So some of the different things that were reported were kind of a very wide range, which for me immediately was like, is this just people who have had a haunted experience and they're just listing things off? But I am going to be quoting from thevermonter.com for anybody who wants to look at it.
Oh my God, I had no quotes on my last episode.
I know. I just thought about that too.
And here I am quoting.
Tourists and visitors to Emily's Bridge have experienced a wide range of unexplained, potentially supernatural phenomenon. Others have even reported seeing and hearing the following after they parked their car. Phantom lights, flashing white lights with no source. It is not lighted from what my research shows, which is not uncommon for a covered bridge. Disembodied voices, cries for help from unseen woman, specifically a woman. Ghostly apparition, a form of a girl seen near the bridge. Unexplained scratches on bodies and cars. And remember, that's when people have parked their car, so they're outside of the vehicle. Dramatic temperature fluctuations. Photos showing anomalies, blurry shapes, figures in the background. Some of the more notable things that were a little bit more specific. Phantom music heard under the bridge near the Gold Brook. I wish there was a little bit more information on like what type of music, but music. Photos fail to develop or contain blemishes of certain areas of the bridge. Cars' paint jobs ruined by invisible claw marks. And claw is what really caught me on that one. I think claw, you immediately think animal, but a claw could be fingernails as well. The driver experiencing foggy windshield with handprints on it. Horses avoiding the bridge, appearing with bloody gashes on the horses.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a second because I have a couple things.
Yeah.
The horse thing, I think animals have really good instinct.
Me too.
About the certain things.
Me too.
But I have a really hard time with flashing lights. Unless it's like in a building that doesn't have electricity, because I feel like we have so many insects that have
100%.
a way of having lights show.
And would you go to a covered bridge without a form of light, whether it was your phone?
Yeah,
or
I just have a hard time with that one.
You just moved and your headset has silver on it, and when you move ever so slightly, there's a little bit. So I do tend to agree that, especially also if the era of time that they're believing that this Emily would have taken her own life or somehow had expired at this bridge. In the 1800s, what type of flashing type light would you? I mean, a lantern, but that one seems a little bit far-fetched.
But if she was trying to meet her lover in secret, why would she
wouldn't probably bring a light.
Yeah, that doesn't make any logical sense to me.
Is continuation of some of these things we've seen. And I do want to highlight that this one specifically states a group of teenagers claiming these. So whenever it's teenagers, I'm a little bit skeptical, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Seeing the apparition of a woman approach their parked car.
They wish.
Immediately makes me be like, what were you doing in the parked car, right?
They wish.
The entity jiggling their door handles, trying to enter. And a figure dissipated after failing to gain access to the vehicle. They also note that sometimes hats have blown away from visitors' heads and other objects move on calm days. Which, I mean, a hat could blow off of your head, but on a calm day, it's a little bit far-fetched.
I would just believe the animal thing more than anything, I feel.
Definitely. I think a lot of this folklore is very heavy on people wanting to debunk it. So they do state also that there's a lot of logical explanations for all of these different things, but the paranormal tales continue to live on regardless of whether Emily was alive. And so it got me to thinking, because I had listened to one podcast, they were really hung up on like debunking it. And I'm kind of like, does it really matter? Because if the bridge has that much history, that line really stuck out to me, because is it Emily or is it someone else? And does it matter?
Right.
I think about places like the Hoosick Tunnel, the Bloody Pit.
Right.
How do you know who the person is?
Energy stays in objects.
Right. 100%.
Energy stays.
100%.
So on a different note, 'cause when you were talking about like scratches just showing up on people, not to turn this on me, but you know that we were trying the ghost box in my house and in the place that I live, which has a lot of historical value. The land has a lot of historical value. So I was sitting in our bedroom watching something, and I just like had my arm like just kind of hanging out, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, ow, like why does this hurt? And I look and I had this scratch. I don't even know if you can see the remnants. I'll have to look when I'm in the light.
There's
but like,
something a little bit near your elbow.
There was a scratch, and I was like, where the hell did that come from? And I was like, all right, whatever. I just kept going about my day. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, is someone trying to communicate with me?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I don't always think that scratches are malicious.
Right.
I think that sometimes they're just, hey, like, get your attention. Like, they're not trying to hurt you.
And I also think in some contexts, like let's say in your situation, if somebody didn't leave a mark on you, you might not even think twice about the situation.
Yeah, right.
You might just be like, okay, well, there's nothing on me, so...
Yeah, and I'm clumsy. I bump into shit all the time. But like, I was just laying in bed, right? And all of a sudden, I got a scratch. I was like, where'd this come from? Like, ooh. I was probably watching like Sister Wives or something.
I love how Sister Wives is immediately the thing that you come up with. I don't think it's fair to talk about all of the potential haunted happenings without mentioning that a lot of sources really did go heavy into the history again, just like Camp Wendigo. There were no records that verified that Emily was a real person who ever died at the bridge. But again, if you're thinking 1800s, would there be records and where would they be? We had this problem with Camp Wendigo too.
I guess I would look at the local cemeteries, even if there wasn't any, right?
But Emily was kind of a very common name, too. So. And then who's to say that somebody didn't go to the cemetery, look up, oh, okay, there's an Emily from that time, and then just make it up.
Maybe. I'm just hoping that someone would have been like, oh, if they are Emily and they were young. I see what you're saying.
It's definitely something where I'm probably going to continue down this rabbit hole because there was a lot of...
like you said, if their name's not Emily, then...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There were varying legends that offered a lot of different conflicting details, which is kind of something that a lot of researchers were looking into as if there's not one set story, then how do we find evidence? Which one do we go down? And I know a lot of times with folklore, there are a lot of different tellings of it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were actually claiming that the actual death that occurred there, if one occurred there, was of a young girl in a 1920s accident. But I couldn't find any specific example of what that
like
one
what kind of
been.
accident? Like was
that
it?
They didn't go into, and it was kind of like, but like what type of accident?
So I feel like the only thing that has going for this bridge is that things happen near it. A lot of energy was put into it, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of places in the world for, like you were saying, energy shifts. There's a lot of places that just have history to them, and things happen in those places. And sometimes things just happen in general too. And then who's to say that the people who are visiting didn't have somebody with them already? Because I do think that while a lot of spirits wouldn't necessarily hang around with one particular person, maybe I just don't think I'm interesting enough. I do think that some people would carry people around with them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting. And I had it on my mind because of all of the ghost hunting things. I'm curious if the Wanderers enjoy folklore things. I know that we haven't done a ton of folklore exploration.
I know Lynn from Springfield.
Springfield probably has some thoughts on it. This one did seem a little bit more far-fetched, and I almost did come up with a different one to kind of talk about because it was a little flat. But I also thought that conversationally, talking about things, even when there isn't a lot of history to them, is still kind of important, because you can think about Camp Wendigo now seems a little bit less far-fetched to me because of the information that was available.
And like looking at Spooky Massachusetts book, like those tales were so short. It was like, but is there any...
That's true. A lot of folklores are very short.
Because I feel like there is a grain of truth to every folklore that we have.
Things start somewhere. I do firmly believe that. And even if, for me, I obviously love history too, even if a place doesn't necessarily have this morbid type of story, which unfortunately as a society we do clearly tend to favor the morbid stories, there is a lot of really, I kind of like that you ended yours with a silver lining, and so did I, because there's a lot of great things still for this particular site.
Yeah.
It remains open to vehicle traffic still in Stowe. It is monitored by neighbors and the Stowe Police Department to make sure that nobody vandalizes it, but it is still a landmark that people can drive across. It's visited frequently by paranormal investigators and historians. It's something that brings attention and economic value to Stowe as well. Not that it needs a ton more, but it does have some pull for people. It is included in ghost tours and haunted trails in the area, which obviously to me means that people do have a high value of thinking has some paranormal activity. And it's the subject of books, documentaries, and websites. It's a photo hotspot for visitors. And it's an accessible attraction that draws people in, and it can be something that everyone can access.
I would love to make our own Wicked Wanderings road trip where we can just go through New England and go to all these hot spots and just be able to, like, even record like a 15-minute episode and just bring the Wanderers with us somehow. I don't know. Even if it was like a long weekend or something, I think it'd be so much fun.
Do you want me to tell you the thing that I found out at the end of all my research that was dang. At the end of all of my research, I was kind of really trying to get into, like, does anybody have any actual data?
We love the data.
Joseph Citro, who is the Vermont's authority on all things haunted and ghostly, has what he believes is the real story of Emily's Bridge and how it's not quite so romantic or even true. And so this is an excerpt from an interview that he did with Obscure Vermont. And here I am quoting. The story of Emily's Bridge doesn't go back to the 1800s, but rather much more recently in the 1970s.
Oh.
A woman by the name of Nancy Wolfstead claimed that she was the one who created the story of Emily to scare the local youth. There was a swimming hole somewhere near Stowe and Morrisville. She remembers making up the story of the bridge to amuse the kids. At the time, there was a huge surge in the occult and the paranormal in the flypaper that is popular culture, especially with films like The Exorcist that had recently debuted.
Which I hated, by the way.
She was also the one who came up with the name Emily. However, I do think that some people would say things like that for attention.
Yes.
Knowing what we know. You guys can decide. Do you think that, I guess it's a multi-part question.
It is.
Do you think that the story of Emily is true? And if you say no, which is okay, because I think I err on that side, what do you think the reason for the paranormal happenings at Emily's Bridge are?
I don't want to discount who the person was.
Right.
Do I think their name was Emily? As of right now, no. Could something have possibly happened? Yes. Is it possible that some old hag, like you just described, was like trying to scare children? Okay, that also would add energy to the bridge. But one thing I do agree on is that energy is at that bridge, and there is something there to be discovered.
There's definitely something. And I also was thinking about...
But it depends on the questions you ask.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
You know, it depends on what you feed it.
That's true. Because when we were kind of doing our own ghost adventure...
Yes.
I can also see now, which I had a lot of opinions about ghost hunting, and though I did my small stint amateur in high school that I don't often admit out loud, you can definitely hear and have things happen to you when you're open to them, and then you are thinking the whole time,
right?
Is this happening to me because I am open and receptive to it,
right.
so I'm willing the energy towards me?
Yes.
Or is the psychology of my brain telling me things are happening when they aren't?
Right.
And I truthfully think, I used to think even a couple of weeks ago, that people, like when I'm watching Zach Bagans with you and you're like all into it, and I'm like, oh my God, that is not what that said.
He's on my naughty list right now, so we're not talking about him.
Okay, he's not her boyfriend, Zach Bagans anymore. He's just that guy.
We broke up.
That guy.
Yep.
If I was going to do the perfect ghost hunt, let me rephrase all of what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I would go to a place that has some kind of confirmed activity.
Okay.
With you and your ghost box. If I could go to a place, I wouldn't want to know the history so in depth that my brain could have the chance to make things up. Because I do think, as cool as it would be to go to a place like Trans-Allegheny, right? I know that history inside and out. It would be cool to hear things back and then say, did I hear them say blue?
What about that woman that has that house on the road?
Yeah, I do have a little... I want to tease it, Wanderers, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. But okay, I do have a hunch. I do have a hunch on a place, perhaps, that could be cool for it. And I do think now that we have some equipment, perhaps I could sway the person. I'll try again.
Oh my God.
I'll try again.
I'm going to have an orgasm just thinking about this right now. Okay.
I love how she takes her headset off to say, I'm going to have an orgasm just thinking about this right now, even though the microphone is still on. I'm going to do pick a card, any card, Wanderers, before this gets any more strange.
But also, I love that you were like, Hannah's getting antsy right now, which my last episode, Wanderers, she was like, oh, but was he the husband? Oh, he was the father, right? Like,
I had a lot of questions. You calm your moo down. I hope that the Wanderers can let me know. Do you guys like hearing about folklore? Do you want me to return back to my realm of serial killers? I'm trying to go with the feedback and try to, shake it up a little bit.
We're trying. Tell us.
Let us know. Do you hate my folklore stuff? Cousin Mark, you don't count. You don't get to tell me serial killers because you're going to tell me serial killers always. I know that.
And you're going to answer every question.
I'm going to do pick a card, any card to myself because I have the cards. I have the 8 of Clubs. Angelo Andy Puglisi. On August 21st, 1976, a 10-year-old boy went missing from the Higgins Pool in Lawrence. He was last seen at approximately 5:45 p.m. walking around the pool area wearing green swim trunks.
Oh.
Andy has never been found. That's so sad. And he is an adorable little boy. Again, his name was Angelo Andy Puglisi. If you have any information about this case, please call 1-855-MA-SOLVE. That is so sad. I feel like Lawrence comes up in these cards a lot, and I do know that it's a population density probably situation, but I do feel like the last few times I've pulled cards, I feel like they've been someplace in that area.
People suck, dude.
And when it's a kid, it just really hits home, especially coming off of... Did it say how
old he was? I'm sorry.
It did say he was a 10-year-old boy. And that was in 1976.
What? That's... Oh my God.
So you're talking 50-something years ago now, right? 50...
Yeah,
almost 50.
50s.
Almost 50.
He must be in his 50s by now.
Wow. And that's just, it's so sad when it's a missing persons case. I know that we obviously run, true crime and Wicked Wanderings type of podcast, but there's just something about, for what we both do for work, seeing a child, go missing or get hurt. That's just a little extra unsettling.
Yeah.
So again, if you guys have any information or any type of lead.
Well, thank you, Courtney. That was a great episode. That was a lot of fun. And Wanderers, please, again, text us.
Let us know. I'm going to put a poll up. I'm going to put a poll up on whenever Rob is putting this episode out. I'm going to make a story for this to see what we can kind of get for categories out there. Because we want to give you guys we obviously enjoy doing what we do, but we want to give you guys the content that you want to hear too. And
Yes.
now, obviously, with Wicked Wanderings being as far into it as it is, we've covered a lot of different things.
We have.
And we're by no means running out. So don't
No.
anybody think we're going anywhere, because that's not going to happen. But
Not allowed.
there's so many topics to choose from, and it's
Yes.
so easy to go down a rabbit hole of just serial killers or
Yes.
just murder.
Murder.
We definitely went down a murder hole for a little while there. We're trying to even it back out.
Yeah.
So let us know. And until next time, Wanderers.
Bye, Wanderers. Thanks for listening today. Wicked Wanderings is hosted by me, Hannah.
And co-hosted by me, Courtney.
And it's produced by Rob Fitzpatrick.
Music by Sasha N.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave a rating and review, and be sure to follow on all socials. You can find the links down in the show notes. If you're looking for some really cozy t-shirts or hoodies, head over to the merch store. Thank you for being a part of the Wicked Wanderings community. We appreciate every one of you. Stay curious, keep exploring,
And always remember to keep on wandering.
A sincere expression of gratitude to our esteemed patrons for their generous monthly contributions. You too can become a valued patron and unlock a realm of exclusive content by supporting our mission for as little as $3 a month. Your contributions sustain our commitment to delivering high-quality content. Visit wickedwanderingspodcast.com and click on the support tab to join the ranks of our dedicated patrons. Thank you for considering this opportunity to deepen your engagement with Wicked Wanderings. Your support is paramount in enabling us to continue our journey into the realms of mystery and true crime.